Hello, everybody. Hey, my Logify. Hey, Lil Davis, Jason Gilman Jr., Andy K. How's everyone doing today? So, I recently got my hands on this console. Not only the console, though. The console is like one of the main things that I think has kind of changed my sort of modular hardware workflow. But yesterday, I kind of said on stream before my internet died and I disappeared. I was talking about how I was going to go grab myself a new interface, which is basically 8 channels and then an ADAT output, which I can then run into my current audio interface. And what that allows me to do is run the direct signals from here into Cubase, and allows me to record them one by one, regardless of what I do on the faders. And this is important because previously, when I was kind of just jamming around with the hardware, there was certain limitations in terms of taking that and turning it into an actual song. Major reasons being actually recording it into each channel. Like, for example, like splitting the kicks, splitting the bass, percussions, and those kinds of things. But then also the freedom to change things after the fact and that kind of thing kind of diminishes a little bit. And then also you can't quite get mix. You can't change the mix or anything like that. So I feel like when I was jamming, I was kind of just, there was no end goal. But now that I've kind of integrated the console and the preamps, now I can kind of jam around regardless of what I'm doing with the effects and the volumes here. I can just record the clean directly from the preamps into into Cubase. So no sound. Excuse me. There's definitely sound. So maybe there's no door sound because it's just me speaking at the moment. So, for example, I can record just the kick onto a signal channel, just the bass onto a single channel, just one of the oscillators onto another channel, vice versa. So it allows me to chop things up after the fact and kind of like produce something a little bit further beyond just jamming around on the hardware. There's actually kind of method to the madness now. But the other bonus is previously I had some preamps which were 8 channels of tubes which would feed into ADAT. So I could use it, but the problem with that is when you're recording with tubes, obviously they're distortion, so there's saturation being applied. So, excuse me, I'm just sneezing. Excuse me. So, obviously when recording with tubes, it's a nonlinear signal, so that becomes a problem again with production, and then I might as well just be synthesizing stuff like kicks and that, in the DAW, if the recording process is going to add nonlinearities. Anyway, so the new Focusrite preamps definitely have changed the game, and now I feel much more confident to just record the multi-track in. Everything already sounds a little bit better going in. But then the other bonus is now I've got those 2 preamps to kind of patch in as I need. So, for example, what elements sound nice with a bit of saturation and a bit of distortion? 303s. Digital synths like the Microfreak. My gosh, this thing. Through a bit of tubes, through a bit of analog tube. This thing, the Microfreak. Oh my god, it comes alive. So, the other bonus about the console is now all of the modular effects I've now routed through the aux outputs on this console. So that means the direct signals that I'm recording there are without the effects. So they're a little bit cleaner, but also that then allows me to chop things up and move things around after the fact because I don't have delay tails to worry about. Then I could always still send, I've got a signal coming back here, a feed from the PC back in, which I can then send through the effects if I need to. I generally don't end up doing that. I mean, I end up just processing the effects in the computer because it's easier to do it that way. But it's just like I find like the console just answered so many questions in the sort of hardware jam integrating into the PC situation. But it's essential for the kind of essential key that makes this console, I think, special is the fact that it has direct outputs. So each of these channels, basically from the preamp, it's got an actual output that you can tap. From there, then I can send it to wherever I need it to go, like into the preamps or whatever. So the idea today, I want to jam around. I want to make a cool loop on the modular, record the loop in multi-track, and then maybe do like 2 loops, and then chop it up and turn it into a track. And we can see how we go with it. So yes, if you guys have any questions about the routing and that kind of thing, generally you can kind of see the thicker cables in the module. You see the thicker black cables. Those are generally audio running out into here. But yes, let me dive straight in. Oh, how's that saturation on that 303? It's just perfect. It's perfect. It's exactly what I needed outside the box. 303s often I find that it's the perfect sound for that acid sound, but it just lacks a bit of distortion. And the problem is when you record it into the box and add distortion there, any of the signal to noise ratio from your sound card, it's boosted from the distortion. So being able to distort the thing outside the box and then run it in, it's the key to getting that really bright, gnarly hardware acid sound. So basically I've set it up so like I've patched all 3 of these synths are going through a channel in the tube preamps, and then I can kind of dial in the amount of distortion that I want for each of these. But most of the time I find it just sounds so good, like literally gain on 100%, and that red line. If only I could show you here with a camera. The difference between like analog clipping and digital clipping is like this thing only starts to sound good when that red light is flashing. The distortion comes from, no, it's not software, it's a ART tube preamp. It's my old ADAT, the ART Tube Opto 8, but I'm no longer using the ADATs. I'm just running it analog. So I've got a patch bay below here, so I can, any of these channels, I can patch into the distortion if I want to. But the trick, the plus side is previously I had everything going through saturation. So it was kick, bass. I just had to dial the saturation down to 0 on the kick and bass, but often it just, then the volume is like very much reduced because it's kind of a non-linear thing. So anyway, having the clean preamps plus that to kind of choose, it's changed the game, I think, for me. I think that's sounding sweet. I love it. I love the playability of the system now. I can kind of, because now like it doesn't matter what these levels are here, it's always going to record in at a full level signal. So I can like don't have to worry about gain staging when I'm recording the samples into the PC. They're kind of already all gain staged. So yeah, I think I like this. I like this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just let it loop for a bit, get into the zone, and then record in a long segment of it while I just play. And then we're going to do like another loop, which is similar sounds, or a similar key, but like maybe change up some of the sounds. Oh, I think we got some mad stuff there. I think we got enough for like a full track. Honestly, I think we do. Um, we should maybe just make like a couple of just random variations on things. Like maybe not a whole segment, because there's a lot of stuff that I got there with a 303, like sweeps, and that with a 101. Lots of lasery things that I can do with all those sounds that we got there. So let me maybe just make another loop over here. We can start again. Maybe I'll make like a different bass groove or something. Or a different sound on the plats. Let's see. something's out of tune, but it doesn't matter. Stuff just grooves. Doesn't matter if it's out of tune or not. We're gonna work it into tune. We're gonna work it into the tune. I just need to run to the bathroom real quick. Then I think we've recorded enough stuff in here, and we will try to turn this into a track. Okay, let's jump over to the door. The DAW. Boom. Hey, Astufussy. So, yeah, I've recorded in multi-tracks from all of that stuff. Now I just need to sync it up, and then we are A4 away. Let me just figure out the easiest way to do this is to turn it into one long... Okay, so the SH101, I did a separate take with that one. In this part. I'll just move that out of the way for now. I don't think I recorded any mind phaser in that part. The trick is, so it like records and then loops over and records over. So I'm deleting all the like second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. And then I'm going to move everything along and then stretch it out. Just to keep all the channels like synced up, if that makes sense. Like this. And then what we do is we just go like this. I did try like, so in Cubase you can actually set your sample, your record latency offset. And then what that does is that basically shifts the recordings like backwards. So it does kind of line up like pretty close, but it's not exact. Like onto the kicks. Does that make sense? So if we go to the kick here, this first part seems to be slightly off, but at least each of the channels are still aligned, so we can still use that as a kind of reference. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, where we delete everything, shift it to the first kick, and then can actually just go like this, because it'll be an equal amount of thingies. In fact, we can go like this. Shortcuts. And then I will find the beginning here. And just cut it on the kick. Boom. Okay, that we want it to be after that snap point. Okay, that should be good enough. Forgot to do it to the percussion loop channel. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna definitely do that. And same thing with the bass. Although right now I'm using the kick and the bass to align all the other things. So because it's a multi-track recording, everything is aligned and synced up. So if I just sync up just the kicks and the basses and the percussions and stuff, but have everything else selected, it will sync up afterwards, and then I can loop the kick. You know what I mean? That's not a good thing. Those warnings. Okay, let me just exit. I just saved it now, so nothing should have changed. So let me just exit Cubase and get back in. That's not a good thing. I've somehow destroyed like the rest of the thing. I think it's when I backed up the channel. I think it's when I backed up the thing. So maybe I can find those recordings in the other project file. Stupid me. Your shit is acting strange. Maybe I've got no more hard drive space. Maybe like all the multi-track recording is killing my hard drive. No, I'm good.